Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here, and I've got a huge report lined up for you today that you guys are going to want to sit through. I've got with me today L.A. Marzulli. He's an author, a public speaker. He's been investigating the UFO phenomenon for years, and he is one of my favorite authors. I've watched all of his Watcher series, the series on the Nephilim. So he's one amazing man, and you guys are going to want to hold on for this ride. We've got a blast of an interview about Fatima. So are you with me over there, LA?
I certainly am, Lisa. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for being on. So for starters, some people may not know what Fatima is. So will you explain to those people, because this is a phenomenal thing that happened back in
1917. Yeah, it's basically the 100-year anniversary of Fatima. It's 100 years ago. Something happened in Fatima, Portugal. 100 years ago in Fatima, and actually all of Portugal, people had never seen an airplane. Most Portuguese people living in 1917 had never seen any type of an airplane, blimp, nothing, especially way out there in Fatima. It was a very rural area. So the backstory is this, that these three children, Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta. Lucia is 10, Francisco is 9, and Jacinta is only 7 years old. They're out tending sheep. They are completely illiterate. They can't read or write. And this entity appears to them. And they go back and they tell their parents, who immediately say, "You're making this up, you're lying." They say no. And what happens is, this is May 13th, 1917. This apparition, this entity, appears to the three children for 6 consecutive months in a row, culminating on October 13th, 1917. We took the Mary of the Bible off the table. We don't really address that in the film at all. In other words, the Catholics who believe in Fatima believe it was the apparition of Mary who appeared to the children. We're going to deal with some of that in Volume 2, Fatima 2, Strange Phenomena, which will come out more than likely early December. But in Fatima 1, we really focus in on this one event. And this one event was witnessed by 70,000 people. It's called the Miracle of the Sun. Here's the backstory. The children were being interviewed from May into August by the parish priests, by their parents, by the mayor of the city or the town. People, there was this big uproar, and crowds began to come in to see what was going on. So in May, there was just the 3 kids. By July, you've got maybe 20, 30,000 people there in the field checking this thing out, wanting to see what's going on. So this is creating a furor, a hubbub, if you please, in the area. And there's a lot of controversy. So the officials go to the kids and they go, "Hey, if this is really Mary of the Bible, ask her for a sign. Show us a sign. Go back and tell the lady." And by the way, Lucia never says it was Mary. She says it was a lady from the sky. But I digress. We'll take that off the table for this interview. The bottom line is this. The kids go back and they ask her. They ask the entity, "We need to see a sign." So the entity says, "Yes, next month on October 13th, there will be a sign." 70,000 people are gathered in this rain-soaked field in Fatima, Portugal, and they're awaiting the sign. They wait past noon at 1 o'clock. And remember, it's been raining all day. You got pictures, a sea of umbrellas as far as you can see. Cross-section of humanity. You've got everything, a few photographers, you've got newspaper people, you've got priests and clergy and politicians, and the vast majority of people are illiterate peasants, because that's what was in Portugal at the time. Yes, you've got professional people, but the majority are all basically peasants, a lot of them illiterate. All of a sudden, the clouds part, it stops raining, there's the sun. Here's what most people don't know. And this is from the eyewitness accounts, 1917, which were written down by the parish priest, Father Fiera, who gathered all this information and then presented it in Lisbon in 1924. This guy was there from the original get-go. And by the way, he disappears from the scene. After he delivers the paper in 1923-24, he falls off the face of the earth. No one knows what happened to him. Back of the story. 70,000 people gathered in the fields. Been raining all day. The clouds part. There's the sun. All of a sudden, another cloud comes in front of the sun, and out of this cloud comes an object, which begins to spin like this, and then falls like this down to the ground, and then spins back up. It does this 3 different times. And as it's spinning, it's throwing all this brilliant light all over the crowd. The crowd is completely mesmerized by what they're seeing. Most people saw it. Not everyone saw it, but most people saw it. So, and different people saw different things depending on where they were. But then we've got an event which we call in the film the flyby. It's when the object does this. It leaves its place in the clouds and comes like this over the heads of the crowd and then back up into the clouds. And when it does this, all sorts of phenomena, plural, happen. Clothes are dried immediately. Spontaneous combustion of engines and cars. Hoods of the engines fly open. Windshields crack. Skin burns, like radiation burns on people's skin. It's absolutely bizarre. And then the sky apparently turns this reddish color, and people think it's the end of the world. People are absolutely terrified at what's going on. That's what happens on October 13th. That's what we explore. Was it the sun? In my opinion, it definitely was. The sun didn't move from its place in the solar system. So it was something else. And that's what the film explores.
Yeah, and he's got a film that he's put out on his website. I'll leave a link for that below. I'll also throw it up on the screen. But you can find it there. It's called Fatima, and he has part 1 done. You guys can get it on his website. I encourage you, because there's exclusive interviews and everything on that. So I encourage you to check that out. But tell us, LA, what kind of happened prior to that? What led up to Fatima?
It's very interesting. And by the way, they can go to my Vimeo channel, L.A. Marzulli or the Watchmen Chronicles. They can rent Fatima for $7. You know, if you can't afford the $20 for the DVD, you can rent it on Vimeo. A lot of people are choosing to do that, and that's great. What leads up to Fatima is very interesting. 1917 is a pivotal year in world history. You've got the tumult of World War I raging in Europe. We've never seen a war like this before. This is modern warfare. This is gas, trench warfare with poisonous gas being used. I mean, it's off the charts. Combined with that, in Russia, you've got the rise of the communists, the rise of the Bolshevik Revolution, which basically turns the entire planet on its ear for 70 years. Till the modern era, to just a few decades ago, when the whole system finally collapsed because it doesn't work. Socialism doesn't work, communism doesn't work. But the Bolsheviks, when they took power in that 70-year time span, you're looking at 75, 80 million people dead in the Gulag system, taken from their homes and never seen again. And that's what the fruits of communism. 75 million people killed in the Gulag. While all that's happening, in the halls of power in England, the Balfour Declaration is being crafted, which will eventually lead to Israel coming back into its ancient homeland. All this is happening in the centrifuge of world politics. It is unbelievable. And then you get this apparition, this entity speaking to the children and saying these things. What's interesting is we also discovered, and this we really get into in Fatima too, the idea of goddess worship. All throughout Portugal, Lisa, there was the worship of the sacred feminine, goddess worship, specifically the goddess Mora. And what we found there was very bizarre, very, very strange. All this is kept, you know, way under the radar of most people. Unless you study it, you don't know the absolute perversion that was going on in the ancient world, and specifically Portugal.
Okay, so would you call Fatima a, miracle of the sun, like they're trying to label it, or like a harbinger of deception? What's your take on that?
The title is Miracle of the Sun, or a harbinger of deception. And of course, we believe that this was a harbinger of deception, that the craft that came out, we've got witness after witness saying that what came out of that cloud was a dull silver disc. And in 1917, there are no words in the lexicon for UFO or flying saucer. It's one of the first, earliest actual encounters, we think, of a UFO mass sightings. And that's what we just, look, we talk to historians, we talk to a variety of PhDs, we talk to neuroscientists. We talked to a variety of people. Almost everyone on the film that comes in on the film has a PhD after their name. These are highly trained, educated people who are disciplined in their area of expertise. And they basically go back to the 1917 records and state unequivocally that what came out of that cloud was a dull silver disk. That's what flew over the crowd, because the sun, if the sun moves from its place in the solar system and comes to Earth, everyone's burnt up. And it was only a local phenomena. No one like 100, 150, 200 miles away, no one in Germany saw it. No one in the United States saw it. It was a localized phenomenon that happened. People 20 or 30 miles away saw it, and people at Fatima saw it. But elsewhere, no, they didn't. So the sun didn't move from the solar system. It was something else that appeared. And our research and the research of Fina de Armada, who passed away in 2014, and Joaquim Fernandez, who we interview on the film. Joaquim is the author of 3 books with Fina. They have spent decades researching this. And it is my opinion and that of Joaquim Fernandez and Francisco Correia and Frederica Claro de Armada, Fina's daughter, that what this was a UFO event. And in Fatima 2, we talk about the great similarities between when a UFO, when people encountered a unidentified flying object, the skin burns, the rashes, the cars won't start, all this phenomenon happened at Fatima as well. So look, we're not here bashing anyone's belief system. That's not what the film is about. And we make that really clear. We believe it was a harbinger of deception. And that's what the film is about. It's a warning. Heads up, folks.
A warning of maybe more UFO activity to come?
Absolutely. Well said.
Now, with that in mind, what was the historical setting of that time period when that actually happened?
Again, that's World War I is raging. The Bolshevik Revolution is happening. Balfour Declaration is being crafted in the halls of power. But in Portugal, and people need to understand this, that the 70,000 people, 99.9% had never seen an airplane, had never seen any type of aerial phenomena at all. Blimps, airplanes, nothing. So their first experience is this, craft, 30 feet, 40 feet wide. We don't know how big it was. And as this thing descends, they're completely freaked out at what they're looking at. And there's nothing in their grid system which prepares them for this. There's nothing in their grid system which allows them to, put it in perspective. They can't. If they had seen an airplane before, they could have had something to relate to. There were no airplanes in Portugal in 1917, maybe one in Lisbon. And even we're trying to track that down. To the best of our knowledge and from all the witnesses we've talked to, there were no airplanes.
Now, there is footage of that event, is there not?
There are no footage, but there are still black and white still pictures, which we used in the film. And it showed the people looking up at the sky, and it shows a sea of umbrellas. And people, when the event starts to happen, they're looking up like this. Something is going on. And of course, look, people are religious, and so people immediately equate it with, it must be good, it must be benevolent, it must be God. No one knows that. Nobody knows that. No one's testing the spirits. No one's rebuking first, ask questions later. We're told by John that not all spirits are from God, that we're to test the spirits. No one's doing that. The parish priest, Father Fiera, thought right from the get-go that it was demonic. That's what he thought. Right from the get-go. And quite frankly, and I realize that's an affront to many people who are ardent believers of Fatima, that, to say it was demonic is an affront. But here's the deal. Lucia, when she's 18 years old, and most people don't know this, when she's 18 years old, she's hustled off to a convent and given a Carmelite vow of silence. And she's basically cloistered out of the picture. In 1928, 11 years after the event, is when she finally writes down the so-called secrets of Fatima. 11 years after the event. So see, people don't know this, but this is all drawn from the 1917 records, and that's why we made the film.
Awesome. And I think that's great that you guys made the film because it sheds more light on that information, something that we've heard throughout history and people talk about Fatima and everything that goes on there. So with that, in conclusion, can you share, where your website is, where they get the video and all of that information in case anyone's interested?
Absolutely. The Vimeo is L.A. Marzulli or The Watchman Chronicles. You can go to thewatchmanchronicles.com. You can go to my website, lamarzulli.net, thewatchmanchronicles.com. Vimeo is L.A. Marzulli. You can watch Fatima, right in your own home for $7. You can watch it right after the interview if you want by going to Vimeo. And frankly, Lisa, a lot of people are choosing the video on demand platform because, I want to watch this now. Click, there it is. Whereas if you buy the DVD, which is great, and you can watch it over and over and over again with the DVD, but you got to wait 3 or 4 days till it comes in the mail. So video on demand is a cool thing.
Awesome. And I'll have that link below for all of you to check out as well. Well, anyhow, thanks again for tuning into my channel here. I'm Lisa Haven and L.A. Marzulli signing out.